Hi, everybody. My name's Josh Hamilton. Some of you might know me, some of you might not. I'm the Adult Faith Formation Director here at the parish. First time doing one of these, I thought kind of a from the desk of the Adult Faith Formation Department sort of conversation. I got a question from somebody that really got me thinking. And their question was basically, how do I, as a busy adult, a parent of young children, or just someone who barely finds time to go to the bathroom sometimes, make time to be a disciple? It's all nice, it's all good ideas, but I don't even have enough time for basic bodily functions. So, how can I make time to be a disciple? And I thought that was a pretty interesting question. I was reflecting on yesterday's Bishop's Year of the Bible video, Acts chapter 6, where the apostles and disciples are sent out, but the Holy Spirit gives them individual gifts and individual missions. And really, if they got jealous over each other's gifts or each other's missions, the whole thing would have fell apart before the church ever got started. So if you're asking yourself, how do I make time to be a disciple? I want to turn the table a little bit. Imagine a car engine. Not a huge car guy, but I know enough. I'm the bolt, let's say. And being a bolt is kind of boring. I just sit there holding still, and that's the whole point of being a bolt. But I really wish I was the gas, because if I was the gas, then I'd be essential, right? Without the gas, the car isn't going anywhere, but I'm just sitting here as a bolt doing nothing, just doing the day-to-day basic stuff. Are you with me? Have you ever felt like a bolt before? I'm changing diapers. I'm helping kids with schoolwork. I'm sweeping the floor. I'm doing the dishes. I'm not like a priest or someone who works for the church or a missionary in Africa doing the work of the Lord. I'm just a bolt. And so the bolt jumps into the gas tank, unscrews itself. What happens to the car engine? Well, the gas tank's plugged, and the engine rattles itself apart, and the whole thing collapses. Turns out, the bolt was probably more important than the gas. Certainly just as important as the gas. So if you find yourself as a bolt, I find myself as a bolt. I work for the church, and yet most of my time is spent caring for my amazing children, spending time with my wife, doing chores, fixing up the house, the usual bolt-like stuff. How do I, as a bolt, be a disciple? I've got just 3 practical tips for today that I think might help get you started. The first tip is assess your priorities. Look at the time that you do have. You've got the same 24 hours as anybody else. How do you spend that time? And is that how you feel like God's calling you to spend that time? Now, that again doesn't mean, well, I shouldn't be changing diapers. I should be off doing something in the mission fields. No, you probably should be changing diapers, please. But recognize that maybe I find myself spending a little more time on my phone than I'd like and not enough time with my kids. Well, there. God's calling you to spend more time with your children. Maybe I spend too much time watching TV, playing video games, not enough time with my spouse, not enough time letting my mind be at ease. And that causes me to get angry easily or something like that. So assess the priorities that you do have, the time that you do have, and ask God, how should I use this time? He isn't calling you necessarily to extraordinary things, but he is calling you to make him the priority and the people around you a priority. The second tip is any time is better than no time in prayer. That's intimidating. I've always struggled with this. I think, well, if I only have 5 minutes to pray in the morning, I might as well not even pray. Because 5 minutes, that's weak. Well, I've got to start somewhere. If I pray 0 minutes, that's worse than 5 minutes. So if you tell me, or if you tell yourself, I've only got 5 minutes of quiet in the day, I only have a minute of quiet in the day, start there. Say, God, I'm going to give you a minute, you grow it. You find the time for me, and I will give you more than a minute, but I'm going to start with a minute. Don't be ashamed of that. Start with a minute, simple prayer. Come, Holy Spirit, lead this day. Show me where you want me to go. Help me to reassess my priorities. There. Beautiful start to your day. Maybe you find a couple more minutes in the day to just stop and say, Lord, I'm really frustrated with my kids. Give me patience. I'm struggling with this coworker. Give me patience. Any time in prayer is better than no time in prayer. And the last tip that I've got is focus on what you do and do it well. If you're an accountant, God isn't calling you to not be an accountant to be holy. He's calling you to be an accountant and a holy accountant. So be the best accountant you can be. Be the best coworker you can be. He has you there for some reason. I don't claim to know why, but there's a reason that each of us have been put where we are, and we simply need to be faithful to God in that. We don't need to create opportunities for God to work. We need to cooperate with him in the opportunities he's already given us. If you're staying home with your children, that's where God has put you. So do that with excellence. God isn't calling you to necessarily change what you do in order to be holy. He's calling you to do what you do with excellence and to be faithful in listening to him where he might call you within that place. I remember working in a secular workplace before I had my job here at the church. Had nothing to do with faith on the front end. I had the opportunity, though, on the phone to be caring with people. I was a 911 dispatcher, right? I could be caring to people in their deepest, darkest moments. And I could witness and counsel my fellow coworkers, to be a presence to them, to listen to them, to encourage them in times that they were struggling, to witness the gospel at times to them in unexpected ways. So again, God wasn't necessarily calling me to not work in that field. He was calling me to work in that field, do it with excellence, and make sure that I leave room for him to work through me there. Just a few tips, lots more, but I thought it was an excellent question. I think many of us struggle with it. If you feel like a bolt and you wish you were the gas, be a holy bolt, because without that, without the bolts, the whole thing falls apart.